Hey everybody, how's it going? I hope you guys are having a great day. Now that May's out of the way, it's finally time to go over all the video game pickups I did for the month of May. It was honestly a pretty slow month at the beginning, picked up towards the middle, and I picked up quite a few games to add to the collection. But enough talk, let's go ahead and go over to the first stop, Best Buy.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are having a great day so far. My first stop here is at Best Buy. I saw that they had some deals going on here where they had discounted some games. There was a game that I had been wanting to add to the collection for a cheap price, as well as another game that I had just seen that I've never heard of, so I decided to pick that game up as well.
Like I always do, I'm constantly looking online for video game deals or sales, and Best Buy actually had a sale going on for some Switch games, and there was one Switch game that I actually wanted to add to the collection that I found for about $15. It was on sale for $15, and I thought that was a pretty good price range. And that game is Immortal Phoenix Rising for the Nintendo Switch. Now I've heard from a lot of other YouTubers or just videos in general that I watch on YouTube that this is essentially like a Breath of the Wild clone, but it's a pretty good clone from what I've heard. So I'm very curious and interested in seeing how this one plays compared to Breath of the Wild, because I love Breath of the Wild. But yeah, it was on sale for $15, and I figured I'd pick it up brand new. Why not? And the other game that I picked up from Best Buy was Saga of Sins for the Nintendo Switch. Honestly, I do not know anything about this game. It's a Red Arts game, so hopefully I put some footage up, see just how it plays or what it is, but I honestly do not know anything about it. This was on sale. I believe originally it sold for like $35-40, and they had it on sale for $27. So I decided to pick it up, a game that I don't normally see on the Switch. This definitely is not a game that you find at GameStop or at Walmart, so Best Buy always has all these niche titles in their inventory, so I decided to pick this one up. Why not? I was there, and it was the only copy that they had left. So if you know anything about this game, leave a comment and let me know if it's a good game or not. Now that I got Best Buy out of the way, let's go ahead and head over to GameStop.
First GameStop trip was a quick one. I just came in here to pick up a couple of pre-orders that I had done the day before. I don't normally do day one pickups on release day, but these were so cheap that I just had to pick them up.
So this year I made it a challenge to not pick up games on day one on release date, because it's a lot of money. Usually when games release, a month or two later they get like a deep discount. Not all of them, especially not Nintendo, but a lot of these games that I'm interested in sometimes get like a deep discount. In this case, these games were so cheap, I had to pick them up, and they're from a favorite franchise of mine. I picked up Dragon Ball FighterZ for the PS5. It was a $20 release game, so for $20 to have a physical copy of Dragon Ball FighterZ in the collection, I definitely thought that was a great deal for it. Another game that released that same day, Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 for the PS5. These were both shadow dropped on that day. I'm not sure. Well, actually, Xenoverse did get a release date, but FighterZ did not get a specific release date. But these both dropped on the same day, and I decided to pick up a physical copy of Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. This is also, I believe, it's free on PSN if you have PSN. I decided to pick up a physical copy of this game for $20 also. It's crazy to buy a brand new game. Well, it's an old game, but a physical copy of a game brand new for $20. I thought $20 it wasn't hurting the bank, so I wanted to have these in physical form for the PS5 collection. I don't have a huge PS5 collection, but it's growing slowly. And another game that released on that same day that these games released, this game had a digital release already. This one was already out, but it didn't get a physical form until now. And that game is Hellboy Web of Word for the PS5. This is the collector's edition. This one also came out on the Nintendo Switch. I could not track that game down. Not a lot of GameStops got this copy or this game in store. This was like the only one that they had. I had tried going to other GameStops to try to find the Switch version, but they just did not have it. I believe you could still order it on the GameStop website. If not, then they're probably all gone, but this was the only version that they had, which was the collector's edition. This game was $50 for collector's edition. I love when games are under $60 and they come with a lot more stuff than just the game itself. This one's definitely packed with a lot of stuff. I'm very interested and curious to try this game, although it doesn't have a good rating from videos that I've seen. It definitely still looks interesting. The art style is definitely very interesting to me, so I'm definitely gonna have to check this game out. I believe it plays like a roguelike. But that's pretty much all I know about it. But the art style is what really attracted me to this, and as well as, this collector's edition has extra goodies. So, but yeah, Hellboy Web of Word on the PS5. So yeah, 3 pickups from that stop, and I was very satisfied with these pickups. very happy to pop this Hellboy in soon.
This GameStop carries older gen stuff, 360 and PS3, and they actually had a couple games on the shelf that I was interested in, but the condition were just not the best. I asked if they had any more in the drawer, and they actually had a game that I was interested in.
So at this next trip, they had a lot of older gen games, Xbox 360 and PS3 games. I looked through a lot of these that they had on the shelf, and honestly, there was one game that they had there that I wanted to pick up, but I decided to skip out because the box was just torn up. So, you know, I prefer to pick up games that are in really, not really good condition, but just in good condition in general, right? So I just skipped out on that one, and then I had asked the employee if they had anything else in the drawers, and they actually did have more games in there, but I only picked up one, which I am very happy to have this in the collection because I played this game all the time back then. That game is Fable 2 on the Xbox 360, one of the last few Xbox exclusive games on the console. If you have not played the Fable series, I would highly recommend for anybody to please play the Fable series. It was like $8, so very happy to have this in the collection. You know, buying games for cheap at GameStop, and then games that you want, it's always a good feeling. Another game that I had been trying to track down for the Switch collection is Jump Force for the Nintendo Switch. Now, I know the other versions on the other consoles, on the PS4 and Xbox, are way better, but honestly, I've been playing this one, and personally, when it comes to the combat and fighting part, it's actually really good. Like, there's no lag, unless it's due to the patches, but now the game is I guess it's playable now. I heard that it used to not be that playable back then, but I guess since the patches came out, honestly, the gameplay just plays pretty smooth for being on the Switch, right? But I had to pick it up. I wanted to pick it up for the collection. This was one I wanted on the Switch collection, so happy to have this and add it to the personal collection. And the last pickup from that store was Broforce for the Nintendo Switch. Now I have to give a shout out to Rat Bash Gaming and also 90s Handheld Gamer, because they've talked about this game and they recommended this game, and I had to go pick it up. Initially, I went there to pick up just the regular standard edition of this game, but then the GameStop employee pulled out the bigger box version and said if I wanted this one or the other one, it was only like a $10 difference. So I figured, heck yeah, I was gonna pick this up for $10 more. $40 for a deluxe edition. The Jump Force game was more expensive than this, but $40 for a deluxe edition of a game, that was, for me, a no-brainer. Definitely had to pick this one for a bigger box game that includes extra goodies. 3 more games added to the collection. Very happy, very satisfied with this stop. Before we continue, I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for the support on the channel recently. I have over 650 subscribers on the channel. I want to make a goal and reach 1,000 before the end of the year. So far, it's going pretty good. Again, it's all thanks to you guys. Thank you for liking the videos. Thank you for commenting on the videos. I always love commenting and replying back to the comments. Whatever comment you guys leave. Also, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Norman and I go by Chocolux here on YouTube, where I primarily focus on collecting games for the Nintendo Switch and more recently other consoles. So if you're into that kind of stuff, please feel free to subscribe to the channel. And with that being said, let's continue.
Another quick trip at GameStop. This GameStop had a good selection of Nintendo Switch games, but there was nothing really that I was interested in until I saw the bottom shelf where they had a really cheap Nintendo Switch game, which is insane to say because they're not cheap.
Now this stop was a pretty quick stop. I was able to find one game that I wanted to add to the collection, a game that's actually on my list to look for. The game I picked up is Starlink Battle for Atlas. Now the Nintendo Switch version has the Star Fox crew in it, from what I've heard. For $5, it was super cheap. For $5, I figured I'd pick this game up. Now the one that I want, or actually I think they all came like this, is the big box version. So I've been trying to look for one. I do want to find it in the wild, you know, physically, personally myself. Maybe I have to go to a game store or something, but for now, I'll settle with this for $5 at a GameStop. Starlink Battle for Atlas for the Nintendo Switch. Another game added to the collection.
Not all GameStops have their retro or older gen stuff displayed out on the floor, so sometimes you have to ask the employee if they have anything older. This GameStop had everything in a drawer, and I took a look inside and they had a couple of PS3 games, and I only managed to find one to add to the collection that I was interested in.
Another quick trip at GameStop, and I actually had to ask to see their retro games, their PS3 and 360 games that they had in the drawers. I looked through all of them, and pretty much they didn't have anything that was interested, except for one game that I am also another fan of this franchise, and that game is God of War Ascension on the PS3. I thought it was a good deal for $18. I thought that was pretty cheap. This is the only God of War game that I have not played yet. I've played 1 through 3 already. I've played the PSP versions on the collection that they had on the PS3, I believe. I've even played the newer ones, Ragnarok and the God of War 2018. But this is the only one that I have yet to play. And I'm very excited. But yeah, God of War Ascension for the PS3.
So this game pickup was actually an interesting one. I had been seeing it around other GameStops. My local GameStop didn't carry this game, but all the other ones that I have been visiting had this game. But this store actually had a upgraded version of this game that I've been finding out, and I decided to pick it up to add it to the collection.
Now this next game was a interesting find, I would say. I had seen these in stores, but I had only seen the standard edition. I didn't know there was a bigger box version of this. And from the research that I've done, this is actually a game that released back on the Dreamcast. I think this is a sequel to it, but I'm not completely sure. And that game is Slave Zero X on the Nintendo Switch. This is the Calamity Edition, or the bigger box version. Again, when I went to the store and saw that there was 2 copies or 2 boxes of the same game, but they were both priced differently. But yeah, $50 for this game. I thought that was a pretty good deal. Very hefty box. I've already actually started playing the game, and it's a very interesting game. It definitely feels like a game from back then. The way it looks, the way it plays very similar to almost like a fighting game. It's actually a little difficult, but I personally like it because it's not too difficult where you just want to drop the game entirely. But yeah, Slave Zero X Calamity Edition for the Nintendo Switch.
On this last trip, there was a deal going on where if you traded in 2 games on this list, you could get $50 in trade-in credit towards the purchase of this new release game. Fortunately, I had 2 games on this list that were doubles, and I was able to pick up a brand new release game for cheap.
Now, I know I said I wasn't going to pick up any new releases, and I've been pretty good on doing that this year. This one I had to do it because, one, I did not actually pay the $60 price tag. There was actually a deal going on where if you traded 2 games out of the list that they had, that you could actually get this game, or you could get $50 towards the purchase of this game. And I luckily had 2 games on that list that were doubles, and I traded those in, and I only paid $10 for this new release game. And that game is Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. I was very happy to buy this for $10. I thought that was probably like the perfect deal. I wanted to get this game day one. I almost pulled the trigger and just paying the full $60. But then I believe on the week of release, or like the week after it released, they had that deal where if you just had 2 of these games on the list, you get $50 trade-in credit towards the purchase of this game. I'm definitely curious to see why this game is so loved, why everybody loves this Paper Mario in particular. The best one, as a lot of people say, is probably the best Paper Mario out there. But yeah, for $10 to add to the collection, a brand new release, definitely very happy with this pickup for the collection. Now, before we get into the final pickup I did for the month of May, I want to just show these other games that I did a whole video on, where I went video game hunting for a full day at GameStops. Definitely go check that video out. I did just 1 full day of video game hunting. Tekken Tag Tournament 2 for the Xbox 360. The Amazing Spider-Man for the Xbox 360. Scorn Deluxe Edition for the PS5. The Hitman Trilogy on the PS3. And finally, Atelier Sophie 2 on the Nintendo Switch. There's a lot of great pickups for that 1 day of video game hunting. Definitely go check that video if you haven't seen it already. But I just wanted to show these off since these were also picked up during the month of May. I just did a whole separate video of these pickups. So definitely go check that out if you haven't already. And now finally, last but definitely not least, the final pickup I did for the month of May was actually a game that I had to order online because this was the only way you can get this version of this game. This is one of those situations where it had a digital release already, but it didn't get a physical release until recently. And this one actually had 2 versions of this game. One was released retail. You can get this game at GameStop or Walmart, Best Buy. But this version, you could only get it online through a website. And the game that I'm talking about is Sea of Stars on the Nintendo Switch. Now, ever since the announcement of this game, I had been very interested in playing this game. Now, this version, you had to order it from iam8bit. So this was the iam8bit version of the game. Don't know if there's any differences at all between this one and the retail version. From what I can tell, I think it's just the cover art. You get a slip cover for the game. You get a cool map of the game, or a poster. And like I mentioned, the cover art of the game is different from the retail version. I believe that's the only difference from what I can tell. I am so happy to add this game to the collection, and a great way to end video game pickups for the month of May with a game that I've been wanting for the collection for a while. Overall, very happy and very satisfied. And there you have it. These were all the video game pickups I did for the month of May. It was, again, it started off very slow. I honestly did not think I was going to pick up any games. Once we got towards the middle of the month of May, I figured, well, maybe this is just going to be a slow month, which I was fine with. But then next thing you know, it started picking up, and I just had to pick up these games. Some were extremely cheap, some were on deals, and some games were just piqued my interest, or some were just on my wish list to add to the collection. Do you have any of these games in your collection? Is there a game that you would recommend me playing right away? Or is there even a game that you probably didn't even know was coming out or heard of that I picked up? Let me know and leave a comment down below. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. And again, thank you guys for the support I've been getting recently on the channel. Thank you guys so much. 650 subscribers. That's just, I can't believe it still. Hopefully by the end of the year I can reach my goal of hitting 1K subs on the channel. Again, thank you guys for watching, and until next time, peace.